Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? We are here with the one, the only Jonathan Twomley. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I have three other topics I want to talk to you about. So I'm going to slam them into one video. You ready to go?
All right. The smorgasbord.
That's right. That's right. It's a buffet. So one of the things that I often think about is, there's, the financial industry, financial analysts, all of those folks, the idea of you want to be a millionaire when you retire, start early, put some money away, 6% return, and lo and behold, 40 years, you're a millionaire. So I just thought I would pick it up. I have an article I'll share in a minute just to look at the numbers. But when I look at this and I think back to being a 30-year-old, when I really started to think about retirement, I'm like, that's slow, right? And there's so many life events. And frankly, who's even going to guarantee I'm alive at 65?
Right.
So let me bring this up, but there's better ways or faster ways to become a millionaire, right? This is not the only way, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting to see what you put up here. So, okay. So
basically you start at 20 at the top. Hopefully you're seeing that now. Assume a 6% return. All you've got to do, Jonathan, is put $364 away every month and you'll be a millionaire at 65.
I mean, listen, so this is, if you can get this return, right?
Yes.
This is just math.
It's just math. It's not wrong. It's just math.
It's just math, but this assumes a lot of stuff. It assumes that, say, when you're 20, you actually have $364 a month
every
month to put away, right? And I think that, look, I remember getting out of law school, right, and being here in New York City, and the starting salary was, $85,000 a year, which at that time I thought was, oh my God, like I'm making more than my parents.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that. Yeah,
and this is like insane, except that with student loans and rent, I basically didn't have anything left over, right?
Yeah.
And since I was like working all the time, it wasn't like I could even like make food for myself, right? Because I was like working so hard that I was eating out all the time. And I would every once in a while be like, hey, I'm going to save money and buy groceries. And then the groceries just rot. Because literally I wouldn't be getting home at 11 o'clock every night. I wasn't going to like cook dinner for myself. Right. So it was the idea of like saving $350 a month. I mean, I probably could have done it, but it just wasn't
practical.
Right. Yeah. And so, I think that's part of the problem with this equation, that the discipline factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also then the other one is, what are you going to put your money into where you're going to get a 6% return every month?
Yeah, compounded monthly.
Every year, every year, right?
Yeah.
So compounded monthly, like it says here. Look, when you and I were kids, you could put the money into a savings account and get 6%.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But you can't do that now. Now you get, if you're lucky to get 0.06%. So,
yeah, no kidding.
So the question is, what do you put your money into to do this? So not saying it's not possible, but I think for most people, this is not very likely.
And that's really what I come to this, right? I see stuff like this. I can run the math works. It's just math, right? There is a right answer. These things work. Starting at 30, it's $704 every month. 40, it's 14. And really what this is trying to tell you is the earlier you start, the easier it is. It's just the compounding of money, but this is not practical. Life doesn't work this way. It really preaches, frankly, it talks about actually, let me stop sharing this. Yeah. What this really does to me is it really preaches, get in the rat race and stay there.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay with that, right? There are other ways, right, that you can get out of the rat race. And real estate is a wonderful way to do that. So, I just see stuff like that and it makes my skin crawl because it's not practical for 99% of the people.
Yeah. I mean, except there are people who really don't have the bandwidth to go and look for properties or they don't, whatever, or they like their jobs. I mean, So there's certain people for whom this is going to work, but probably for the people who are watching this video or listening to this podcast, that's not, you guys are not here for us to tell you to
Yeah.
save $350 a month and find something to invest in for 6%. That's
Yeah.
not, that's not the path that you want to be on. I mean, I
Yeah.
think
You can get there a lot faster with real estate.
yes, because you have the opportunity to create much better returns for yourself. Either, whether it's through flipping,
Mhm.
right, rehabs, or just getting the cash flow and appreciation on properties, you can typically do better than that. I mean, even today, as low as cap rates are, most deals that I see are projected at least sort of mid-teens returns,
Yeah.
right, over the life of the deal, including whatever appreciation happens.
Mhm.
Plus, there's the tax benefits that you don't get from the savings account or from stocks or what have you, right? So, um, this is real estate still beats this by
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And
Do the work, focus, you can get there. When I tell my students, it's just 20 minutes a day. That's what I did 20 years ago. It's 20 minutes a day. You have to have a tight criteria. Don't get distracted, all of those. But yeah, you can get there a lot faster just by doing the work.
yeah, and the consistency is the key. It
Agreed.
doesn't matter what it is, right? Whether you're trying to build, a multi-family syndication business and you need to build an investor base, or whether you just want to go and, buy single family homes with your own cash, or you want to flip, whatever it is, the single most important factor and the thing that will bring success more than anything else is consistency.
Mhm. Agreed.
Just do the work day in and day out,
Absolutely.
and if you miss a day, make sure you go back the next day and don't miss 2 days, right? I mean, if you
Agreed.
just apply that, you will hit your target.
Couldn't have said it better. That's awesome. So topic number 2, the CDC eviction. It's supposed to expire at the end of the month, 6 days away. I actually changed my opinion on this. For the longest time, I'm like, the CDC can't do this. The CDC can't do this. It's unconstitutional. I now believe the CDC will extend it a month. And what they're going to say is, it's just hurts me to say this. They're going to say the reason we need to extend it is because we can't get the money out and pay the landlords fast enough. So I expect the CDC, the federal level, to be extended, and then states and local areas will extend it more. Like, for example, San Jose, California, just extended it already till August as of yesterday. So what do you think? Do you think the CDC drops it because they're losing court cases and it's unconstitutional, or do you think they extend it?
Well, I mean, they haven't. This hasn't gone up to an appellate court yet.
Okay.
So just the way things work, like just on a district level court probably can't stop the CDC from doing it, right?
Right. Wheels
So,
turn slow. Yep.
yeah, and so it would have to go up to like an appellate level court and be sustained, and that hasn't happened yet. So we're still in kind of a legal gray area, and as long as it's a legal gray area, then the it could continue, or the CDC, if it wants to, could continue these things. But I'm frankly, if it's June 24th and it expires in 6 days and they haven't said anything yet,
Okay.
there's nothing stopping them from announcing an extension earlier. And you would think that they wouldn't leave this till the last minute. So I think that they might just be letting it go.
Okay. Good.
Because,
I would
like,
love that.
yeah,
That'd be good.
and the states and different cities and states have extended things until August.
Yep.
But I think that the recovery is here. The big news is, like, there's a shortage of employees. Everybody who wants a job can get one. Like, I think it becomes harder politically to extend
Okay.
these moratoriums in that environment when things are coming back. So I know that that there have been extensions till August, but I'll be honest, I'd be really surprised if they're
Okay.
extended. Even in like the really blue states and cities. I just don't.
Okay.
I don't see it. I think people just want to be back normal, and that includes, landlords and tenants. So
Okay. All right. Well, good news. We'll know in a couple of days.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. And then our final topic in this collection is wage inflation. I think there's inflation in the system. We've seen lots of PPI, CPIs, PCE, all these other acronym soup from economists. A lot of it's supply chain, disruption. There's clearly shipping, lots of things in this, right? It's hard to restart an economy, right? We shut it down and now restarting, it's kind of messy. But the thing that I think is lurking under the table is wage inflation. I think one of the things we've clearly seen is, 9 million job openings, lots of restaurants and retail can't hire folks. Now we have 1 in 4 teachers looking to quit. I think what we're going to see is pretty substantial wage inflation, which is good, at one level. But I think it's going to be sticky, and I think it will have a longer tail of inflation into 2022. So I am most concerned about wage inflation.
Well, I mean, I don't know what really to say about it. I mean, wage inflation, we've had rent inflation for a really long time without
True.
wages catching up. And if we get wage inflation, look, if you're a landlord, you're happy, right? Because suddenly more and more people are qualifying to rent your apartments and they've got the money to pay you rent. So I'd say as a landlord, this is a good thing. And yeah, maybe you're going to pay your employees a little more. If you have employees, you might not even have employees on your property. You might pay them a little bit more, but if you're running your property right, the delta is that works in your favor. If you've got, let's just put the numbers out. If you've got 3%, rent inflation at the same time that you've got 3% expense inflation, you're happy.
You win, yeah.
Because the rent number should be double, at least, maybe even more than double what your expense number is. So that delta is growing between those two things in that situation. So you like it.
Yeah. I think wage inflation, generally speaking, is good for real estate landlords, but also for the other thing we have is housing affordability, right? The affordability calculation, one of the metrics is average income. And if incomes go up, prices can go up. So again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I think the Fed's focus on full employment and getting back to 3.5% unemployment is going to cause a lot more pain than they're talking about now, I guess.
Well, there's a lot going on there. I mean, I know sort of simplistically, there's a lot of people out there sort of whining about like, oh, the enhanced unemployment. It's crazy. People don't want to go back to work. That's actually really only explains a small portion of what's going on. A lot of what's happened is that, as you and I have talked about for months, right? A lot of what's happened is that businesses cease to exist, right? During COVID, and a lot of the people who work for those businesses went and got other jobs, right? Or they moved, and so they went back somewhere else.
Yep.
Whether it was back home with their parents or someplace that was cheaper to live or someplace where they could get a job. And so you've had there's dislocation there. So in a lot of cases, the people just aren't there to be hired at all. It's not because they're at home getting, paid by the state to sit around and do nothing. It's because in a lot of cases just aren't people there to take that job anymore.
Agreed.
Right? And even for a lot of businesses that say laid off a bunch of their staff, the same thing happened. A lot of those people just aren't here anymore, or they went and got another job. Right. So now, so that's one piece of it. Another thing is that because the economy is improving, the quit rate has risen.
Oh, I saw that 4 million people last month, a record.
Yeah. People have been waiting to quit their jobs for a long time.
Yeah.
And so what's happening is now, like all at the same time, all those people who have been looking to quit have quit. Right. So now that creates, now all those businesses need to find somebody to replace them. So there's even more demand for that. Right. Yeah. So, and it's easy to move because there's a lot of demand.
Correct.
For skilled people. Right. So if you're looking for a job, it's a great time to go get one. But the employer is now left kind of holding the bag. And so there's that. And then the other thing I think is a lot of people, like, they're out of work and they're kind of like, you know what, that was a pretty crappy ass job. I don't really want to go back there. You got to pay me a lot more money to go back to that job now that I've, seen what the life without that job is like. So there's that going on too. So sure, the enhanced unemployment benefits, explain some of it, but the idea that that's the reason is just not, that's just not what's going on. So there's a lot of things going on here. And again, it's because of, it's all comes back to, like, you shut the economy down, now you're starting it back up. There's growing pains, right, that are associated with that. So,
yeah,
that's what's happening.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. So Jonathan, how can people be a part of your world?
Yeah. You want to come and talk more multifamily, if you could possibly stand it. I'm happy to invite you into my Facebook community, which is called the Multifamily Investment Community. Just do a search on Facebook. It'll pop right up. There's got some questions for you to answer if you want to come in. Facebook only shows them to you if you come in on a computer, unfortunately. So the first time you try to log in, please do it on your computer. Just answer those questions. And the carrot for you is that there's a free giveaway. If you give me your email, you don't have to, but if you do, you'll get a free giveaway, and be good to go.
There you go. And Jonathan, you are going to be creating some, what is it? Syndication material for the How to Get Started One Rental at a Time course, right? That's a tease for what's coming.
Yes. By the end of the summer,
yes,
I will have something for you guys, which will go a little bit more in depth into, sort of how you put together a syndication for real estate. And you can use it, frankly, you could, in theory, even syndicate a single family house if it's big enough to make it worthwhile. So this is just, in general, if you're looking to raise money from investors, this will help you get started.
I appreciate that, Jonathan. Well, thank you very much for your time this week. I look forward to this every week, and we will talk in 7 days.
Absolutely. See you next week.
Yep.